What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord link for that's in the description box down below. And as we get rolling here tonight, guys, there's some people we always got to give the love, the appreciation to every single time we kick off a stream here, right? Because we can't do it without the love and the support. Thank you very much to our sponsor of the week and our Cash App King. Showing the love is McLovin.
Much love to McLovin, who is first. This is the first time. He's a non-Dallas Cowboy fan. First time sponsor of the week. And again, I think back-to-back Cash App King from McLovin, appreciate you, sir. Cannot do what we do here without the whole family support, even if you support another team. Zach Luna, though, he's Cowboy for life. 14 points on the stream, boss. Much love to Zach Luna. And don't forget, you got, JD from DC is the last winner on the gifting membership side of things. That was like last week. No one really took it over last week because we have a tie between it's really anyone. Whoever drops 6 gifted memberships will win. Or if you're the lunatic, or JD from DC, they're tied for 5 right now, so they only need to drop 1. I think Skeptical Fan has 2. He would need 4. That's how we're going to crown the champion. So no champion this week yet on the gifting membership, the membership gifting board. So again, much love to everybody in that mix. And it could be you. If you're in the membership, you can jump in there. And then when you look at the leaders this week, again, we talked about the leaderboard for the gifting side of things. Still up in the air.
That's right.
But you got McLovin once again, sponsor of the week. He's coming for it because he's coming for a repeat there. He is currently the leader on the overall board, and also McLovin is currently the leader in the Cash App board. Although I will say, we had some drops overnight, and this is why I had to, make sure everyone knows McLovin. I'm sorry, McLovin. He dropped another 50 out there in the Cash App side of things, PayPal, in the After Dark session. Gloria with 30, Smokey with 10, Sco971, appreciate you. He also dropped 20. Jason Renfro, he said, hold up. And he came into the Cash App side of things and said, let me drop the 6-6 on your head. And yes, he did, guys. Mr. Jason Renfro, he's right there in second place on the overall board and in the Cash App board. So he is the closest right now to McLovin, on his tail, so to speak. I mean, if I'm looking at this, I think he's 21 back on first place, and that means both cash. Well, no, that's definitely. Let me just make sure about that. Most of that, I think, actually, it's all in the Cash App. So yeah, Jason Renfro is literally back 21. Stephon Gilmore, the old Ezekiel Elliott, 21 back on McLovin for the lead in the Cash App and the overall board so far for this week. We'll see what happens as the week continues. There's a lot of ways to drop the love, baby. You can do it through the super chat, through the thanks button. You can do it. You can jump in the membership. That counts to the board here. And of course, gifting membership, one of the best ways to help out the channel and your fellow family members in the chat. But also, there's a couple of other ways. Try to catch Jason Renfro and McLovin here at the top of the board in the Cash App side. Explain, baby.
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and of course, that Streamlabs link with such a comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Damn right. And of course, nightly, we give the nightly shout-outs. We love the Navy Blue crew and that silver level too. On Fridays, Saturdays, they get those shout-outs for the silver level, but every day we shout out the star and top shelf over everything level membership. So baby, without further ado, let's shout them out.
Thank you to Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Andy Potched, Mary Alvarez, Marissa Sparkle, Dwayne Broussard,
the top
and
dog,
the Lunatic.
The Lunatic. We'll see who wins all these battles here. Maybe tonight when it comes to the gifting board. Maybe by Sunday. We shall see, guys. So, baby, did the shout-outs. I do want to remind everybody, of course, in the house, if you're those 8 people we just shouted out will all be in either Sunday or like Monday or Tuesdays. Star level membership raffle. Star level and over everything level. If you're in any of those levels, you will be eligible to win a Sewn & Stitch jersey, Cowboys Mosh, much love. And that is monthly here on MCF. So stay tuned. We're going to have a winner at the end of this week or early next week when it comes to the February's monthly jersey raffle. Just want to remind everybody. Now we're back on the scene here. We want that 6 and beyond. We're going to tell you how that plan going forward starts, maybe through Dak Prescott and a record-setting quarterback pay, right? We'll discuss it here, guys. But before we get there, I want to hear who's in the house with us tonight with the shout-outs in the chat.
Shout out to Frame Rippers. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And yes, time really does fly crazy fast. That was baby MCF there, right? Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. And trust me, guys, we'll talk about Dak. I promise. Chris Davis, what's up? Hey, that's the only way to kick off a stream, right? Matt Batten in the house. Thanks for being here. Brandon J. Hey, I guess you never know, but I would very much hate to see Bill Belichick with the Niners. Just saying that. In any capacity ever.
I don't see that happening with Kyle Shanahan. Still the main guy there.
Juan Carlos, what's up? Much love. Thomas Garrett, the superior. Garrett. Jerry Jones.
Hey,
just,
up,
all about the hookers.
He likes hookers wedding. We talked about the other
Devontae
day.
Alvarez, what's up? And hey, like I said, we're definitely talking about Dak tonight. I don't want to get into that right away because I know we have a few things to touch on.
A couple things to touch on first. You got to stay tuned for the full show.
You know why he's here. Freedom first. Hey, looks like you were first today. Good for you. And
Freedom,
let me see.
Snug, all everyone in the house.
Let me see. Jason Renfro in the house. What's up? Much love. Jason, that's what we had asked you earlier. I think we had sent you a personal message asking you that because we, kind of figured usually you're, Yeah,
we know your drops. We know your drops. Why?
Exactly.
I asked. I didn't see any response, so I said, hey, let's put it on there. But because of that, and when we alter that, I will send it back to you. Jason's not second place anymore. He's back to...
But we got you, Jason. Yeah. Don't worry. Like we said, that's why we hit you up and said, hey, all good on your side.
Back to 7th place for Jason Renfro, but he's down with it. He'll be up there a little long. I'm sure he'll be up there as the day goes on. Appreciate
Jason's always repping it here.
Of course. So, again, any other comments outside of Dak Prescott?
I will try. Let me see. No. Sorry. Actually, there was one. Chris Davis said the Cowboys hired a new offensive coordinating assistant.
That's true.
And of course, we talked about a wedding full of hookers, as Jura said in the chat. But yes, obviously, right now, let's be real. The main discussion is around Dak currently. So it is what it is, my love. So now Chris Davis is saying he wants a Roger the Dodger Staubach jersey. So
Chris Davis wins.
Admit, I do like the classic old school styles.
I have the Roger Staubach jersey, but you got to be in the star level membership or the Over Everything membership to get a chance to win one of those at the end of the weekend. There's a lot of choices, about 40 different choices, by the way. Jason, I sent it back, so we understand that was a mistake, so it's all good. But, we welcome to send your usual drops if you'd like. And as well,
hope you can figure out that situation there.
We'll keep you jumping up the board as much as we can there, right? So he's right now, on the board, but in last place. He's a little after dark the other night, about 4, I think he put on there. So anyways, I guess as we get rolling here, baby, any last comments before I say the news of the day?
No, I'm ready if you're ready.
All right, let's go. News of the day, starting with NBA. I know it's NBA what, but yeah, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan from before any championships with Michael Jordan. But Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Luke Longley, all 3 guys are having their own quote No Bull tour. Why are they having this No Bull tour? So they can tell their side of that ESPN special, The Last Dance. About that, the six championships in 8 years, the 3 peats twice. That whole documentary with Michael Jordan, the No Bull Tour, is what's going around to battle the Michael Jordan Tour. So now you're going to have Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Luke Longley kind of telling their side of things when it comes to
no offense, that name is fantastic.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that,
but they will never be able to. They'll never be able to out-talk the greatness.
The whole point is it takes 3 of them to come up to half of what Jordan's got going on. Yeah. And let's be real, with Jordan's reputation and him being who he is, you've already made up your mind. Like nothing you're really going to see here is really going to change it. If you were kind of anti-Jordan for whatever reason, you're going to firmly remain in that camp. And if you were pro-Jordan, so to speak, like nothing they say is going to really change your mind. Like Jordan's a fucking legend.
Yeah.
And they can try to do the same.
Listen, nothing's going to defeat Jordan. Not even the 3 old Bulls there. It's not going to happen. Anyways, other news outside of basketball. Yeah. This is football news, but it was about that shooting in that Kansas parade. The
Chiefs, Super Bowl parade.
Missouri prosecutors on Tuesday said that 2 adults have been charged with murder in last week's shooting, which killed 1 person, injured 22 after that Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Authorities said more charges are still possible. Plus, the shooting began, according to most witnesses, it seems like during the celebration. It began because one man accused another man of staring at him.
The fuck?
A fatal mix of this kind of junior high school kind of toxic, masculinity, I guess you want to say, is I'm better than you kind of deal, and readily available guns. Again, guys, there was no checks. These are minors. Some of these guys are minors. I know they were stolen some guns, but there is no real checks going on with the adults. Hey, all I know is Lisa Lopez Galvan was shot and killed last week. She was the one that died. Following the Chiefs parade, she was wearing a Harrison Butker jersey, a kicker, fan of the kicker. And she was wearing it that afternoon. The family requested a new one to place with her. Butker had one delivered to the funeral home. So, that's
a very
nice
kind gesture, obviously. And again, just a horrible situation all around. And again, for the dumbest reason.
Yeah, just because
the
we looked at him.
Reason.
A guy looked at the other guy too long, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, retirement in the house here. 10-time Pro Bowler and 16-year NFL veteran. And you might not even know who he is, maybe, but he's very important. And I know. You guys might know him out there. Matthew Slater. You know who he is?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Son of Jackie Slater, a great Rams offensive lineman. He's a Hall of Famer, right? Jackie Slater. But it's bigger than that. He might be a Hall of Famer on his own. You know why? He was part of 3 Super Bowl winning teams in New England, where he played his entire career. But it's more about what he did for special. Baby, he played special teams, and that was it. That was his thing.
Okay.
He announced his retirement. He's a 10-time Pro Bowler. Special teams. He got the special teams spot. It's all him. 3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time AP All-Pro second team, 2-time All-Pro first team, AP All-Pro first team, 191 tackles, most of them on special teams, 5 fumble recoveries, 1 forced fumble, 1 touchdown. Do you think he belongs in the Hall of Fame as a special teams ace? His first Pro Bowl selection was in 2001 and 2011. And since then, only Trent Williams from the Niners is the only player with more Pro Bowl selections since 2011. Yeah.
I mean, look, all positions deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, don't you think?
Yeah.
If you're performing at your position at an elite level, higher than anyone else, clearly in a tangible way, which he clearly has done, it's hard to argue against that. Obviously, it's a little hard to compete with top receivers or quarterbacks or guys that put up flashier stats.
The thing is, when I think of special teams in this kind of position, the guy I think should have started with is number 40 from the Cowboys. You guys know what I'm talking about? Oh, Bill Bates, baby. Bill Bates played safety, but he was really a special teams demon. Also, Kenny Gant, some special teams guys. C.J. Goodwin, who we're going to hear from in a minute, spoke about Matthew Slater. But I'm just trying to say that, there's been a lot. Don Beebe, what's his name? Don Beebe. Isn't he a guy there from the Bills? And he stripped Leon Lett there for the touchdown of the Super Bowl. But he was also a great special teams player. The point is, Matthew Slater, only guy with more Pro Bowl selections with 11 is Trent Williams. And since 2011, Belichick called Matthew Slater the best special teams player ever in NFL history. He was, again, voted for 10 Pro Bowls, credentials to follow his father, Jackie Slater. I know that Belichick said that he has coached the best offensive player in history, Tom Brady. That's what he said.
Yeah.
The best special teams player in history, which is Matthew Slater, and the best defensive player in history, which was Lawrence Taylor. He did coach with the Giants.
He really did.
Yeah, so he really has coached all the greats in a way.
Can you imagine being part of that much NFL history? That's kind of fantastic in a way. Look,
yeah.
Bill Belichick's a lucky guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, hey, is it chicken or egg? So again, when you look at the, just finishing with this Matthew Slater stuff, special teams ace, our guy, C.J. Goodwin, who I believe should have made the Pro Bowl on the before his special teams play, before the Patriots game this past year. They spoke about him, how he is matching up with Matthew Slater earlier, this year, and Goodwin believes that Slater should eventually end up in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. What did Mr. C.J. Goodwin from the Cowboys have to say about Matthew Slater just retiring?
To dominate at a position for that long, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're prolific at something for 16 years, I don't see why he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. That's part of the game, right? There are 3 phases to the game, right? I know special teams gets tossed under the rug a lot, but if you dominate at something, you should be rewarded for that. He's been one of the most dominant players in NFL history. And dude, obviously CJ Goodwin and I are on the same page. And of course CJ Goodwin understands exactly, how little respect special teams get sometimes. But guess what? It comes through clutch, and everybody notices when they fuck up, don't they? Anyway, so.
Yeah.
Off my little high horse there.
Good to hear from CJ Goodwin getting some special teams, credit there. Matthew Slater. Anyways, a guy who's retired, all right? Former superstar running back Adrian Peterson, all right? He's hosting a real estate sale in Houston where he will be selling multiple pieces of his memorabilia, including his MVP trophy, Rookie of the Year trophy, Offensive Player of the Year trophy. This is kind of major. He needs some money, I'm assuming. Adrian Peterson supposedly selling nearly 1,000 items at an estate auction, including, again, MVP trophies, game balls, True Religion jeans, shirts, jerseys, baby clothes, and his boxer shorts after blowing $100 million and going broke. That's the word. Now, there's different ways you can bid. It's out there in the public. Then Adrian Peterson took to the social media side of things and said it is a fake story. He said, quote, false story. So I guess we'll let this play out. It kind of reminds me of the Tyreek Hill situation when it was out there. But, that ended up being actually dismissed because it was a mistake. So Tyreek Hill was actually right about that, at least for the time being.
I mean, yeah, but like...
Adrian Peterson, everything's out there. 1,000 pieces out there to buy from, and he's saying it's fake. Maybe the story of how he got broke is fake, but... I don't know about...
It seems a little weird. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it isn't possible. I'm just trying to figure out how someone would have had access to something like this, because it sounds like when you follow the link or you look at the information, you're obviously seeing maybe some of the memorabilia and the stuff that's up for auction. So, unless someone snuck into his house, took a whole bunch of pictures, or, you know what I mean? Like, it definitely seems like maybe something's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a strange situation.
So let's see how it all plays out. But honestly, Adrian Peterson always seems to be in some kind of weird situation.
Weird, for sure. It's kind of weird. We're going to end these older, retired, I don't even say this guy's older, but just retired, not in the NFL anymore. A lot of these players we just talked about here. Let me add Johnny Manziel to the mix. Johnny Manziel said his father had a meeting with Kevin Sumlin. He was in an interview with Shannon Sharp today. And it said that his father had a meeting with Kevin Sumlin. Who is that? Well, I think he's the coach there for the team he played in, Texas A&M, where he would get $3 million under the table if he stayed for 2 more years. His own father. Manziel's dad tried to broker a $3 million deal on his behalf to return to Texas A&M in 2014. And according to himself, to Johnny Manziel himself, he actually had a couple things to say about this in context.
Yeah, he said, and my dad did this without me knowing. And I ain't mad at him about it for nothing. It's the way the business worked back then. That was a bag man. There was a bag man at LSU. There was a bag man at Bama. There was a bag man at every school around the country if you were competing for a national title.
Yeah, so again, that's coming out there, not a surprise that stuff happens. But yeah, that he was looking for, his dad was looking for some more pay for him to play at the college he was at there, trying to win another championship. And also, Manziel, then of course, after shitting out in the NFL, he went to the fan-controlled league.
Yeah.
Remember that? The debacle? And Shannon Sharp kind of said that he was sad. It was sad to see Johnny Manziel playing in that league. So Manziel confronted him about that. What did he say, baby?
He said, "It is sad, Shannon. What you said on that day is exactly right. It is sad to watch a guy who had all the resources and team around him, and he still goes, fuck that."
So again, Johnny Manziel speaking his side on things. Then he also continued because he revealed how much money he could have made in this era now, the NIL era, where the college players get paid.
He said, "I got $700 a month coming in on stipend. That ain't enough. Probably $10 million a year. I could have done $5 million on my own with the Instagram."
Oof. So, and I'll say one other thing here. He may be definitely right about that, especially at his time. Even though he's not a great NFL player, he would have made a lot of money in college,
He was a hot name in college, let's be real.
But let's finish this up with the guy who really wanted him. The guy who really, really, really wanted Johnny Manziel. You guys remember who that is? Because his name is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, guys, was stopped from going after Johnny Manziel. Thank goodness. I think by Stephen Jones. We got to give him credit there.
Probably had to lock him in the fucking bathroom.
And got Travis Frederick instead that year. Thank goodness. Although they both kind of ended their careers around the same time. But the thing is, Manziel said he's happy that the Cowboys did not draft him. It'd be dangerous for him to be in Dallas. What did he say about that?
If you would have put me in a landscape that was my backyard, I think it would have been an absolute disaster. Thankfully, it didn't happen, even though at the time it was what I wanted. I had my fingers crossed under that table the entire time. Like, please, let me go put that star on my helmet. Looking back now, thank God it didn't happen, because I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Damn, that says a lot about the Cowboy situation there, right?
Not even that, but he didn't really mean that necessarily about the Cowboys. He said it in his own backyard. Staying in Texas, in that same party environment, especially with all the kind of privilege that being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback gets you, just throwing that out there. That's a rough situation for someone who had the substance issues that Johnny did.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what he's saying. He would not have lived through that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's a whole situation in itself there. So, at least two things. Glad he didn't come to Dallas and he's alive, and glad he didn't come to Dallas because we got Dak Prescott. It was much better. Yeah. So, anyways, now finishing up kind of the current NFL.
We got Zach Martin, not Johnny Football.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Everybody in the chat who easily corrected Mr. MCF.
Thank you. Yeah, Travis Frederick was another almost missed there.
Look, I said either way that pick went, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
O-line, correct choice over Johnny.
Yeah, definitely. So anyways, the Eagles are saying that the banishment of their sideline assistant the sideline guys from the Eagles, Big Dom. Remember him? He was in a fight with the Niners pregame, and then he wasn't allowed back on the field for the rest of the season. According to some people from the organization, they're saying that actually hurt the Eagles down the stretch. Why? Because he's the guy that controls Nick Sirianni's emotions during the games. Yeah, he keeps them in check.
They lost their babysitter.
So when you think about, the 5 is greater than 1 and the cry Eagles cry, you know why we're saying it. He's a very emotional man here. And so when he again, who was controlling his emotions and holding him back from getting in the field of play and, maybe showing too much when, he didn't need to do that in front of the players at a certain time of the game. He wasn't there. So their excuse is without Dom, Sirianni got into, quote, numerous arguments with players and coaches. So the arguments came, he was arguing with the coaches and players without this Big Dom guy in the mix. So who knows if that's really something. By the way, the Eagles also signed former 49ers third-round draft pick, running back Tyron Davis-Price, and they got him to a reserve future contract. That was per his agent. Anyways, it's not a big deal. They got another guy just to stash on their practice squad, basically, for the future. But that's the Eagle news there. Big Dom, that's the excuse. I guess he was the reason why the Eagles sucked. And then the Raiders, they ended up hiring today former Dolphins head coach, former Cowboy, offensive line coach, Joe Philbin. Yeah, Joe Philbin's found a new home. Former Dolphin head coach. I think it was an interim for a couple weeks there when I think Flores went or whoever was fired from there, and then came to the Cowboys with McCarthy, offensive line coach. Now he is going to the Raiders. So congrats to him. He is now the Raiders' new senior offensive assistant, to be accurate. Spent time as a Cowboys offensive line coach and Ohio State as a senior analyst. Philbin is back in the NFL, trying to help out Antonio Pierce and the Raiders, at least on the offensive side there. And by the way, now that we're kind of through with the NFL, let me finish up with a couple of Cowboys that were partying. We talked about Malik Hooker and the Hooker party that happened. We talked about that on Monday, but it happened over the weekend. There's another picture released from the party, and you can see all the Cowboy players. It was for Malik Hooker's wedding. Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, Neville Gallimore, Jaron Kearse, Donovan Wilson, Jordan Lewis, C.J. Goodwin, Anthony Brown, Dorrance Armstrong, and Wanye Thomas. So he said brotherhood, and this is Malik Hooker's post on Instagram. So again, some of these guys, of course, Zeke, not there anymore. Anthony Brown, not there anymore. Then you got guys that are probably leaving, like Jaron Kearse, Jordan Lewis, Neville Gallimore, Dorrance Armstrong. Right? These guys are probably leaving the team. So, still good friends in their time in Dallas. So, probably be all, longtime friends. Now, a guy who loves the value of this team is Jerry Jones. And the Cowboys right now, the most valuable sports franchise in the world. at over $9 billion. To be exact, $9.2 billion. It's up 20% since last year.
It's kind of a crazy statement.
20%, yeah. I mean, he was at, like $8.5 billion or something like this. Now he's at $9.2 billion. The next organization behind them, I don't see any soccer clubs interesting, but I see the Golden State Warriors. They're second with $8.2 billion. They're $1 billion behind the Cowboys. They had a 10% increase. The Knicks, $7.43 billion, 13% increase. The Lakers, $7.34, 14% increase. And then fifth on the list is the New York Yankees, $7.13 billion, is the 2% 1 year increase. So Cowboys, once again, Jerry Jones wins his Super Bowl. But there's another Super Bowl he won. That's the money Super Bowl. And then partially, it's because of the attendance to his stadium for the Cowboy games. Nobody in the NFL, no fan base, showed up for their team this past year like the Cowboys and the Cowboy fans. And by the way, it's not anything new, guys. Since this is the biggest stadium in the NFL. It has led the league in attendance every single year since AT&T Stadium opened.
That's right.
So how many people this year? 1.378 million people attended games this year. The Jets 1.285, the Giants 1.262. Yeah, they're up. Yeah, the Jets 1.2, Giants 1.2. Man, they got big stadiums too. So it was Aaron Rodgers. Remember, they probably sold out early.
True.
The Giants 1.26, the Packers 1.24, Rams 1.235, the Broncos 1.2, Eagles 1.2, Chiefs 1.2, Seahawks 1.1, and the Chargers 1.1. Most of those probably opposing teams' fans. I'm going to be real about it. But anyways, Jerry Jones a lot to smile about. Attendance,
as
most
always.
Expensive team. Hey, he's won his Super Bowl. That's all he cares about. Now, what's the deal going to be when it comes to...
He said, I was born a winner.
Yeah. What's going to be the deal here when it comes to the franchise tag? And I'm just going to... I'll put up a picture of our guy here. Even though he really handles the draft side of things, Will McClay. Let's just be right up front. I talked about it the other day. I'm going to be quick about it now. People don't understand the franchise tag, the power of that tag. No other sports league has this ability. Essentially, take a team's top free agent, someone waiting for years to test the free agent market, and you take them off the market and limit them to negotiating with one team, not 32. So the tag was agreed upon back in 1993 by the NFL and the NFL Players Association when free agency came to the NFL. It was seen as a way for teams to retain top quarterbacks at the time, like John Elway, Dan Marino, our own Troy Aikman. But teams are smart. They use it for all positions, often sometimes for kickers, to restrict movement. The fallacy, though, is that some, even in the players' union, have said, well, it only affects a handful of players, and that's not really right. It affects every player because you restricted the prices at the top of the market. You're keeping the market price lower when you restrict the free agent from testing the waters, right? So it trickles down to every player, whether we agree or not. But about that, that's just the way it works.
Everybody gets paid a little less when the owners and the teams do these types of
when you take a truly top guy who's gonna get let's say $40 million a year, and you take him down to $25 million a year, you're stopping the top market value from rising. So and these owners,
I mean, in a weird way, that's a pretty good way of managing the cap, considering how crazy some salaries have increased proportionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%, but that's why, for us, we'll talk about what we're going to do, but again, we've used it again with DAK, with other players, but right now teams, some teams do use it, but you rarely apply the tag, in the sense of if you don't have any big-time players that you have to worry about losing.
Yeah.
But even though, some people think it's rarely applied, it truly is used a lot more than people realize as
an option or a market controller.
Yeah, well, as kind of you also you get these guys on a restricted deal, and then you could negotiate with them. You kind of keep them closed off to anybody else, and you have full control over negotiating. So look, team negotiate with top players knowing that they have the tag in their back pocket. If a top player has 1 year left in their deal, team knows it really has 2 or 3 years left on the deal. I like to say like a Micah Parsons situation or something like that. Again, they know that the team will not lose the player if they have to keep franchise tagging them over and over again. So it's a powerful negotiating tool, and it allows the team to kind of date the player, not marry the player, so to speak. And we know that could be. We know how we've used it. But as far as this year is concerned,
you don't necessarily want to put a ring on it.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Cowboys tag right now for this year, as we said it the other day. What I'm hearing, guys, it is not going to happen. It's a no-go. We talked about the players already. None of them fit a tag-worthy
situation.
Person there or player. So the window to a tag officially opened on February 20th, yesterday, and it closes on March 5th, 4 p.m. Eastern, which is when the new league year opens. It opens on March 13th, so a little earlier than usual.
Okay.
So that's when free agency kind of begins. The question in Dallas is simple. Who gets tagged? And the answer is probably no one. I'm going to say no one. The Cowboys have 16 players going towards free agency. But barring a new deal struck with any of them before they hit free agency, outside of them staying in Dallas, don't expect them to be hit with a costly, fully guaranteed, unmovable franchise tag. The last time it was done was Tony Pollard, who was the recipient of the tag at the running back position in 2023 at a cost of $10.1 million against the cap, which seemed okay. And then you realize, well, maybe not so okay.
Maybe not.
Because when you look at the players we got right now, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown once again of the list of guys that we're seeing entering free agency. Tony Pollard once again. Stephon Gilmore. I don't think you can get him for $8 million maybe. Do you want to tag him? I'll explain in a minute. Dorrance Armstrong at edge. Tyron Smith at offensive tackle. Let's see how much we can get him for $7 million. Let's see how much it would cost to tag him. Tyler Biadasz at center. Jaron Kearse safety. Jordan Lewis at corner. Dante Fowler. Noah Mbighagney. Neville Gallimore. Jonathan Hankins. C.J. Goodwin. Chuma Edoga. Trent Zieg. Rico Dowdle and Sean McEwen. I don't see any tag-worthy players at all, if it's me. But let me just go through the list for you guys here real quick, because you talk about a tag. How much is the damage if we were to tag any player at any of these particular positions, right? So let me just tell you right now where it's set. It's going to be set officially any day. Not yet, but this is as close as estimate I can give you. At quarterback, $36.3 million is the tag. Linebacker, $22.8 million. Defensive tackle. Talk about, you want to get some of these guys I just mentioned?
Yeah.
Who's a defensive tackle? $20.9 million. You don't want Hankins for $20.9 million. You get him for $2 million or less. Receiver, $20.7 million a tag. Edge rusher, $20.2 million. Offensive lineman, do you want to get Dorrance Armstrong for $20.2 million? Offensive lineman, $19.9 million. Do you want Tyron Smith for $19.9 million? Cornerback, $18.8 million. Do you want Gilmore for $18.8 million or $8 million? You guys feel me? So you let these guys hit the free agency. Safety, $16.2 million. Tight end, $12.1 million. Running back, $11.3 million. And again, this is a first tag amount, not a second. A second tag for Pollard would be a little more. It'd be probably like $12 million or something like this. And then special teams, $5.7 million. You want Trent Zieg, the long snapper? No one's going to pay $5.7 million on a tag. So there is no guy to tag this time around. And let's us all can we all understand that together? I think we all got that, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we're good to go there on that side of things. But
and exactly, yeah, we're not tagging anybody.
Yeah, no tagging. So when you look at what happens to our free agents, some of these names I mentioned, what about, they people are said, well, what guy can come to our team? Will McClay bring in a trade here? Someone with Stephen Jones? Well, not a trade, a high value free agent. ESPN, they say that the best free agent fit for the Cowboys is a big name, is running back Josh Jacobs of the Vegas Raiders. And I don't know what the hell that's about. But, yeah, they said that with the exception of Pollard not returning to Dallas, the Cowboys could pivot to someone like Josh Jacobs. Volume, grinding running back, low pad level to finish runs, quickness to make defenses miss. He led the NFL in rushing in 2022 and can be utilized as a receiving option for DAK on swings, screens, and other, blocking as well. But the point here is, there is no way the Cowboys going to pivot to pay more money to the running back position. I think you discussed this multiple times, baby. We discussed it a lot. The Cowboy front office is not looking to do the same thing and invest so much money at the running back position this year. They've kind of said that. So you get Derrick Henry, $4.5 million. If you can get that, you get that. You don't go for Josh Jacobs for $10.5 million. That would be insane, or more. That would be insane. So when you look at other people people, again, that's ESPN. You got also ESPN on their show Get Up with Get Up on ESPN. Tannenbaum, he said, quote, not quote, but he believes the Cowboys should pursue another running back, Saquon Barkley.
Again,
if he becomes a free agent,
we've discussed this before. We are fans of that here at MCF. We're
well,
just not, at least I am a fan.
I'm not a big fan of Saquon because
he
won't last.
You're wrong. We don't need him to last.
Okay, I'm saying he won't.
What even is that?
He'll get injured after 5 weeks. I'd rather go with a guy that's less money than him, like a Derrick Henry, who'd probably be cheaper than Saquon Barkley.
Look, in that sense, I don't disagree. Actually, no. Walk that back. How are you saying Saquon's going to be more money than Derrick Henry?
Because Derrick
Henry... Is he really projected to be more?
Saquon will be more, maybe $1 million or $2 more, but he's going to be more.
Look, maybe you end up paying him more, but slip in a little injury clause in there or something. Because there's no way we're going to fully guarantee or even halfway guarantee a contract for Saquon. You know what I mean? The only thing I will say, though, according to our front office, we're going to handle the run game a little bit differently as far as our expenditure, right? We're not going to go out there and drop $10 million on a running back. I don't even think we'll drop $10 million on the whole running back position. But that still doesn't mean that Dallas is going to deprioritize the run somehow. Like, I don't see how you can deprioritize it more than you just currently did this past year. So at this point, we do need to see a change in the run game. And with the fact that there are some really solid free agent running backs available, come on, Cowboys, don't be stupid. In the words of Phil DeFranco.
And Tony Pollard, where is he projected by ESPN? Where is he projected to go? They're saying the best fit for him, the Washington Commanders. Believe it or not, Dan Quinn style over there. So,
why not? Why not? What else does Quinn want to take from us?
Antonio Gibson, who's heading into free agency as well for Washington at running back, they could target someone on a short-term deal like Tony Pollard to create backfield rotation with Brian Robinson Jr. and then throwing in some Tony Pollard. So Washington could reduce the workload for Pollard, maximize his dual threat ability. In 5 years, Pollard has had 179 receptions, and he rushed for over 1,000 yards for 2 straight seasons. Mm-hmm. So, Washington may be prioritizing him as a good fit for them. What about Tyron Smith?
Well, what about him?
Yeah, I mean, I say we keep him here as best we can. I think he wants to stay here, but he's going to play another year, he said, and the best team fit, according to ESPN, is Kansas City.
Outside of the Cowboys, obviously.
Well, but they're not even saying Cowboys. They're saying best team fit for all these free agents.
Gotcha.
And the availability is concerns for Tyron Smith are, of course, we know it's real. He missed 33 games over the last 4 years. But with a healthy Smith, who's, again, when he's playing, he's one of the best in there right now. He would upgrade the left tackle position for the Chiefs, limiting pass rushers and keeping the throwing platform clean for Mahomes, a lot cleaner than maybe in the past. So Tyron Smith wants back. And I think he wants back, not just in the NFL or playing of the year, he wants back in Dallas.
Yeah.
And to me, again,
every single year he's been willing to play ball when it comes to his contract.
Yeah, so it's a no-brainer that he stays in Dallas, and I hope the Cowboys keep him. We just got to have a better backup plan than Udoka. And he's always done team-friendly deals, Tyron Smith. You said it. Mm-hmm. So I expect a cheap deal for Tyron Smith to stay in Dallas. That would take away any concerns of him not, being injured or if he misses time. We can afford a backup plan.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think Tyron Smith would work with us, giving us an extra $5 or $6 million off his contract, so you can spend that money on a good backup for him. So it would work out that way. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of.
And guys, I have to be honest. We already drafted his replacement. Tyler Smith is just chilling at left guard right now, waiting for his turn. Yeah. In a sense that I do think that's the Cowboys' future plans. Right. That's just me.
We know that's what Stephen Jones said, but we also know it could always change. And if we get the right guy, that's the left tackle, and he's a starter with a draft or some kind of crazy free agent situation, one of our guys come up and just really get better, the Cowboys will roll with our own guy and throw him at left tackle and keep Tyler Smith at left guard.
I don't disagree, but I think interior is the way to go. If we're talking O-line here, just throwing that out there. So, especially... Just saying, with the discussion of guys who are up and due for money, right? We talked about this. Do we really want to keep Tyler Biadasz here as our center for sure, when it seems like the Cowboys are definitely looking at centers? So we feel a lot more confident about our backups on the interior as well. So if you're really going to make a move and take a chance somewhere, wouldn't you rather do it where you have a little more depth and feel more comfortable? Yeah. Just saying.
By the way, I must stop the show for a minute because we had a drop earlier, a little premature drop there announcement. It was a mistake there, but we fixed it. Jason Renfro said, "Hold up, I'm dropping a $2.16 holler in the Cash App side." So
Jason.
Again, still 7th place on the board, but slowly creeping up, and we're right behind Calvin Richard there in 6th.
And you know what Jason always has to say.
Creeping. Oh, you know it. Hell, Cowboys. So
thank you, Jason. Appreciate you. Much love. Let me take a second here.
Appreciate you. Mr. Jason Renfro, yes. Go ahead,
have we been live for almost an hour?
Close.
Like 45 minutes, yeah. So take a second here, guys, to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell. Follow us anywhere and everywhere on all social media. You guys already know. And, of course, hop in the Discord. Links in the description box down below. And an extra special shout-out, right, to the sponsor of the week, Cash App King.
McLovin. In the house. Zach Luna got 14 points in the stream, boss.
Who is technically trying to go back-to-back, I think. Mr. McLovin.
Oh, yeah, McLovin and the sponsor. He's trying to go three-peat in the Cash App. He's the leader there. He's the leader in the sponsor of the week. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, the king of the gifting board, still up for grabs. Like I said, we have a tie with JD from DC, who was our last winner, and the Lunatic with Skeptical Fan with 2 on it. So whoever hits 6 first wins, and that goes for anybody. If somebody drops 6 gifted memberships, now they claim the crown. It's all or nothing right now. It's overtime for the gifting membership. So if you drop 5, you go in a 3-way tie, and if you drop that 6, you get that other one, and it will count for this week, by the way, as you'll start a new week with 6. Let's just say, but again, that's for anybody. If you drop 1 and it's the Lunatic or the JD from DC, they win, and they already have 1 for the new week. So that's the way we're gonna do that. But appreciate everybody here. Much love to McLovin, sponsor of the week, Cash App King, and trying to go another week. He's in the lead right now on that front. Now, we got to talk about new coach. And if you look at our thumbnail, you'll see him at the lower left of your screen. It's that little baby with that wearing that D on his chest. No, and it's not the woman there, not his wife. It's the gentleman right there between Jerry Jones and his family. No, I said it was the baby. That guy right there, his name is Steve Shimko. All right, and he's the new Cowboys hire as an offensive assistant for the team. Cowboys have hired Boston College offensive coordinator Steve Shimko as our offensive assistant. This has been confirmed. This is after Will Harringer was hired away from the Cowboys coaching staff this offseason. We said that last week. He became the quarterback coach for the Carolina Panthers. So that with that opening there, Steve Shimko right there at the bottom left of your screen, he is now the Cowboys offensive assistant replacing Will Harringer. By the way, we got Jason Renfro in the house dropping a little dollar holler in the house.
In the super chat, thank you. You know what he said there?
Hit me.
Go Cowboys.
Oh, you mean Cowboys. You know it. So appreciate you, Jason. Now we also got Shimko. He reunites right now. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Yeah, he was sorry. The coach that was there, Will Harringer, was the former, he was that position that we got the Steve Shimko replacing him with. He reunites now with his old buddy, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer in Dallas after the two of these guys spent 2 years together in Seattle in 2018 and 2019. Shimko's prior experience includes working as a graduate assistant at Rutgers, also at Western Michigan and Georgia, before landing on field at Garden City Community College as the JUCO Powerhouse's offensive coordinator and quarterback coach in 2016. He would hold that position for 2 years before moving on to the Seahawks for 2 more years. Boston College then came calling as he served as the tight ends coach there in 2020, 2021, quarterback coach in 2022, and then the offensive coordinator for the Boston College Eagles this past season. So, again, this guy obviously has a long experience, extensive experience coaching here in all kinds of leagues. And in his 1 year as an offensive coordinator with the Boston College Eagles, they were 80th in FBS with 24.8 points per game, 68th in total offense with 381 yards per game. They finished 7-6 with a win over 23rd ranked SMU in the Fenway Bowl. So not bad. The program at Boston College quickly went into a coaching carousel this offseason, and head coach Jeff Hafley, he left the team to become the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. The team moved on to hiring former NFL head coach and coordinator Bill O'Brien last Thursday. And when he came in there, he is, kind of taking over. So, again, now you have an offensive-minded coordinator, Shimko. He had the decision to basically, to release the offense to O'Brien, who's going to take over, and had to jump to find an opportunity elsewhere. He came to Dallas here. Now he's here. This is the 5th assistant to join Mike McCarthy's staff this offseason, I should say. The first on the offensive side. The rest have been on defense. Newly hired defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. Of course, he then pulled in there Jeff Ziganina, defensive coach Z, defensive line coach Paul Gunther, who's a defensive run game coordinator, and Greg Ellis, assistant defensive line coach, as the new faces on the coaching staff this offseason. So there you go, guys. Steve Shimko, There he is. He's on our team, and he will be the offensive assistant there for our Cowboys offense. Now, any quick comments maybe in the chat that I should touch on here before I get to Dak Prescott? I know everyone can't wait about that, so let's get Dak Prescott.
So, no, I actually kind of like, there's a bit of back and forth discussion between Aztec Aguilar 04 and our friend Antoine Scott repping for his Bills. I actually like the last point that Azteca made. He said it's a same situation in Dallas. We need a total shift in attitude, coaching, game planning. Like, it's not necessarily a personnel issue because you can see the pure talent on this team and you can see the pieces that have been put there. But it seems like for whatever reason, you just can't quite bring it all together, right? And again, the Bills had a similar situation where, like, it was one game it was the offense, one game it's the defense, one game it's this, one game it's that. Just saying, like, there are some unfortunate similarities there. So
yeah, and I hear that. I understand the Bills and Cowboys. Another similarity is a quarterback situation.
Yeah, and Drums the Cowboys saying, I almost pronounced that wrong. Yeah, Shimko helped develop Zay Flowers. He could help our receivers as well. Remember, a big issue, and I asked you this the other day, was it more of a receiver thing or a scheme thing? Was the lack of maybe some separation?
Well, yeah, and that could be route running, that could be scheme included in there. Yeah.
My point is that regardless of the reason, again, if there's a way that he can help our receivers or help achieve some of that, I am all about it.
In college, Boston College, he was all over the place, right? And he had tight ends and running backs and different positions all over the place. He runs the whole offense, so he kind of knows how to do it. And so he's going to be an assistant now to McCarthy in this offense. So it should be a good deal there going forward.
Assistant to the regional manager.
So now let's talk about the big news, which is Dak Prescott. He's on the front cover here on our thumbnail. But the reasoning is, of course, the big news that came out yesterday. We didn't go live yesterday, but the big news that came out on Tuesday was that the Cowboys, this is per Jordan Schultz, Cowboys quarterback could command, I love that word, command, around $60 million per year in contract extension conversations. According to Jordan Schultz, he said, quote, Dak is going to reset the quarterback market with an around approximate $60 million a year contract. And he said, quote, aside from his MVP caliber play this past year, Dak Prescott has put himself in a tremendous position. Keep in mind, he cannot be tagged next offseason. The salary cap is growing exponentially, and so is the market at the most important position. And that is facts.
I can like physically feel the assholes puckering throughout the world as they hear $60 million and Dak's name attached to it.
But let me and we knew this is the direction we're going. We know that this is, Dak hasn't won a Super Bowl. We know times have changed, and we know quarterback market's going to keep growing. So, in case you are wondering why $60 million, that number has been thrown out there, I don't know if this guy Jordan Schultz really knows anything or not, but it's just common sense. What we've been saying too. It could be 57, 58, $60 million. You look at the most recently paid quarterbacks in the NFL. All right? The most recently paid quarterbacks. You're looking at guys like Joe Burrow, $55 million a year. Joe Burrow, right? Got him to a Super Bowl, but no Super Bowl. Justin Herbert, $52.5 million per year. Far from a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, $52 million a year. Not close, not really, I guess, close to Super Bowl this last year. But Jalen Hurts, $51 million a year. Russell Wilson, $49 million. Kyler Murray, $46.1 million. Deshaun Watson, $46 million. Mahomes only have $45 million per year. Josh Allen at $43 million a year, but he's ready to get some more money. Daniel Jones, $40 million. Dak Prescott, $40 million. Stafford, $40 million. Derek Carr, $37.5 million. Aaron Rodgers, $37.5 million. And Kirk Cousins, $35 million. But you look at the top of the board, 55, 52, 52, 51. This is why it's going to be. This next offseason is going to be going towards the $60 million range. And that's not like a guess. That's a promise. I mean, that's definite. But here's what I want to mention, guys. This is the most important thing about Dak. Right now, he's hitting the cap for over $59 million for this cap hit year. Dak Prescott, he did sign a big deal. It was a major deal, but again, if you look in 2024, this is the first time in the 3 years he's been with the Cowboys
that we're actually saying, oh shit.
Yeah, we're hitting the cap and it's actually hurting us. Now,
oh shit.
Yeah, a lot of people out there say, oh, Dak's been hurting us 3 years. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Dak hurts us now.
Yeah, and Matt Batten said it earlier, even when you just mentioned the general Dak $60 million. He said, I care about the cap hit for Dak.
Correct.
That's all that matters.
Right, and listen, we're going to have to pay the piper. Like this now is when we have to pay the piper for Dak Prescott this year and a dead cap year in the next 2 years from now.
Let me bring up one final kind of little point here.
I'm saying, unless we extend them.
No, I agree. It was just something that the chat had brought up a few times. They're saying that one thing that the Joneses should not cave to is that no trade clause. Like, basically, pay him that money or something like that. But you have to do something about that there. I'm just saying, for me personally, I don't think Dak would ever agree to that. But let's get back to the money part first.
Yeah. Let's say, because that's all guessing out there by other people. And again, that's just, it's good to hope, but the reality is different.
It's more about a desire that they just don't want Dak to have all the power. Yeah. They want to be able to have some kind of negotiation to get out of the Dak situation.
And maybe because Dak has not got helped the Cowboys get to a Super Bowl yet, that may be something he caves in. He has to cave on that. Every quarterback that gets paid this money has a no trade clause. That's the tough part. So it has to be a concession. And is Dak willing to make it? Does he have to make it? The answer is no. He doesn't have to. So I understand the desire. I understand some people out there, Law Nation, others, they want to do that. But that's hope. The reality is business. Business is, there is no real reason for Dak to accept that. If the next guy and the 5 guys before him didn't accept it either. And I'm talking about, fuck that, 10 guys before him didn't accept that. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'd love for, I don't know. I love puppy dogs and ice cream. But
I just said it. I can't see Dak actually going for that in any conceivable way. And it's not like Jerry's going to throw more money at the problem to fix that, right? Like, if Dak gets $65 million a year, like, do you think that's going to make the difference? No. Dak understands how the business works, and he understands that, too. Like you said it, when you're commanding that type of salary, you can make the type of no trade clause demands.
But that's a whole different thing. All of that is that when it happens, we'll find out. And I hope the no trade clause is not there. But the reality is, that's not going to make me say, oh fuck. Like, it is what it is, and I expect it to be there. If it's not there, I'd be like, holy shit, all right.
If you have a top 15 quarterback, this is usually what's included with that. I didn't say 15 just because, again, I don't want to sit here and quibble over who's where, what, why. Yeah,
but I want to make sure I push this one thing here, that since he signed his contract, the cap hit in 2021 was $17.2 million, even though he signed $40 million a year.
Yeah, so chump change, really,
but it was $40 million a year that year, remember? But the cap hit was 17.2. Then, because we moved money forward, restructure, in 2022, 19.73. That's it, on the cap. In 2023, last year, $26.8 million on the cap. Right now, we've paid $17.2 million, $19.7 million, and $26.8 million for Dak Prescott on the cap in the last 3 years with this contract.
Those are all very reasonable numbers.
People
throwing that out there.
People bitch because they hate Dak, they complain. But here's the truth about it. And I know we got to pay the piper. That's what's happening this year. And we knew this was going to happen. Everyone knew it was going to happen. Now, people out there lying, saying Dak's taking up 15% of the cap. Dak's taking up 20% of the cap. They're idiots. One day he'll take up that much. And by then, guess what? It's going to be less because the cap's going to be much bigger. So instead of taking 20% of the cap on these on these years when we're taking this dead money, the cap's going to be at $300 million.
Yeah, so it'll probably be like 15%, 16%, which is, guess what? It's around where it used to be back when quarterback numbers weren't so crazy, right?
You know what it is with Dak? 2021, $17.2 million cap hit. It took up 8.9% of the cap for your quarterback. In 2022, at $19.73 million, it took up 8.96% of the cap.
That's a joke.
Last year, $26.832 million. It took up 11.52% of the cap.
Still a joke. That is extremely reasonable for a quarterback.
When he gets extended, and we're assuming he will, and let's say it's $60 million a year, whatever it is, what will be his cap hit this year? It won't be 59 plus. It will be this year's cap hit will take up 7.76% of the cap this year. The cap hit this year, if we extend him. So if you're going all in, that's an all-in move. You gotta kind of make it. You know what I mean? And when you look at this, you're hearing people on ESPN, get up. That stupid-ass show. You're hearing Louis Riddick I'm sorry. He was talking about Micah Parsons and some comments, and basically, because Micah said, you got to pay Dak. You got to fear Dak, and Lewis.
He actually added another comment that got a lot of people's panties in a twist. Where I'm almost positive he said that name me another quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes that has done what Dak has done.
Right. So the thing is, Louis Riddick from ESPN said this about Micah Parsons' comment about Dak Prescott. Said, "Quote: Ain't nobody fearing Dak Prescott. They fear Josh Allen. Really? They fear Lamar Jackson. They fear Joe Burrow. I don't know if they fear them the way they feel like Mahomes. Like they fear Dak, I think, in a similar way you fear these other quarterbacks. But all right, let's say they don't even fear him as much. The point is that is his retort to Micah Parsons' comment on Dak Prescott. And then you have you have guys out there. To me, I fight back on that with saying quarterbacks who have won a Super Bowl since Dak was drafted in 2016. I don't see Joe Burrow. He was there, but that's not good enough. Mm-hmm. I don't see Josh Allen. Was never there. I don't see Lamar Jackson. Was never there. And a lot of people say he was gifted the MVP, although that maybe Dak deserved it. I understand why Dak didn't get it. So people, the Dak blinders guys, the ultra Dak lovers, I don't agree with that either. But losing a Super Bowl or a conference championship has never been the standard. That's what Micah Parsons was trying to say. So none of them have done anything, but they will all get paid over $200 million on their large contracts. And Dak will be one of them as well. And that's just the way it is. You got to accept it, swallow the pill, the Dak pill if you don't like it. But I think that you go back, listen to what Jordan Schultz said. Jerry Jones loves Dak, but he's also going all in with Dak because he does believe Dak can win a Super Bowl for this. Help the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. And if you take Dak out of the mix, you now are starting at zero. Some fans want that. Some fans want to suffer 2 or 3 years and then get better.
A lot of fans in the chat,
But then what happens in 2 or 3 years if you miss again on a quarterback? If you miss when you get a Johnny Manziel and you shit the bed, now you wish, damn, I wish I had Dak. At least we would have had a chance those last 3 years with Dak. Now we have no chance for the next. So whether you agree or not, Jerry Jones is going to go with Dak Prescott, extending him, making more room for money now and this year, next year, and all that good shit, and trying to win a Super Bowl under this Dak reign right now. I don't know what other tricks he has up his sleeve. I don't know.
Don't worry, Chris. I know. Trust me. Not everyone, and I have to include myself there. I think for the Dak-hating populace here, think of it this way as well. Better the devil you know versus the devil you don't, in the sense of it seems like our front office is very much willing to deal with Dak with all his virtues and foibles, but be able to build around him because at least they know what they have, right? Dak has given this team some serious consistency that it had been lacking, right? And especially under Mike McCarthy, for better or for worse, we have gotten more consistent, right? Now, we've said it. We need to move that kind of consistency into the fucking postseason, right? So, just throwing that out there. And Hood Patriot, I agree. Let's be real. 2016 and 2020, actually, I would disagree. Not 2022. I would say this past year, 2023 was our best chance. This team was trucking along in a way that is hard to still wrap my head around, even against supposedly shitty teams, okay?
Yeah.
Right? So
we looked better last year.
Snug said it. Scared money don't make money. Yep. Again, if you want a quarterback of that type of caliber, you can't sit there and say, I got $5 in my pocket. Whether you like it or not, Dak has put up the stats, led this team, and most importantly, convinced the Joneses that he can get the job done. And
he's been a great, kind of figurehead, a face of the franchise for Jerry Jones, which is another very important thing for Jerry. Now, I do want to say, again, when I look at Dak Prescott, I see him and you say you got a chance to win a Super Bowl. For most of us, some people don't agree with that. But when you look at Trey Lance, you think you're going to win a Super Bowl. And that's where people are deluded. I think they're delusional and they're crazy when you think that way because that's not realistic. You're basically starting with a rookie and restarting your whole, after this year. Because we have Dak this year. If you hate him or not, you got Dak this year. Next year, if we don't give him the extension this year, then next year you'll have Trey Lance. And we will see, unfortunately, at best, maybe a 9-8 or an 8-9 season. Or worse. And then we'll see, again, I remember the bad quarterbacks in the bad years. Some of you guys don't. You want to have a chance with the team we got set up. The defense is kind of almost there. The offense is just kind of almost there. You got to keep trying. That's the way I see it. You got to keep trying.
I think I'm a little spoiled because I came into this watching Tony Romo literally at his best. Right? 2014 is a year I'll never forget. That's got it. And then, of course, right after that, following the atrociousness of watching 2015 and absolutely no quarterbacking whatsoever. So, yeah, I don't need to be convinced that this team can't stumble ass. Like, the only way we find quarterbacks is stumbling ass backwards into them.
Yeah, I agree.
Not intentionally.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, is that's a big-ass risk to ask for here. Let's go ask backwards to an undrafted or a mid-round drafted quarterback that hopefully will produce like Romo or Dak. Most teams have trouble finding any quarterback, ever. So, yeah, that's a big issue there. So, look, a former Cowboy quarterback, like I actually grew up watching, was Danny White, another number 11. But Danny White, kind of giving his thoughts about Dak Prescott, said, quote, "Dak's doing everything well enough to win a Super Bowl. But I think everyone else around him, you can't say this."
Shots fired. Oof. Okay.
Danny White, like, hey, don't talk about my
Be
quarterback.
Be more specific.
So when you look at Dak, you say, what would have happened if you had someone like this guy back there, Jimmy Johnson, in the mix of things? And Jimmy Johnson, of course, let's rehash everything he kind of said. Back in the fold with the Cowboys, laughing, joking. The audio is on our shorts, so check it out if you missed it. But again, it's only speaking terms, or is it a little more than that? And I think we discussed it. Let's hear what he had to say. Again, baby.
Is this a situationship?
Yeah. What did he say about being part of the crew of advisors for Jerry Jones?
Since the Ring of Honor, I am on Jerry's advisory board now. And he kind of joked. He was like joking, right? Like, as far as like, does he have like an official title or anything?
He was chuckling. He was laughing. And again, it's clear though that Johnson and Jones are friendlier. Friendlier, back to talking football at least.
Yes, he said we were talking on the phone about an hour after his Green Bay loss. And he was talking about what all he needed to do because he had big decisions on Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn and Dak Prescott. Everything is hunky-dory now. I am back in the fold with the Cowboys.
So now we heard that. Let's hear what else he said. Now, we knew that already, but what else did he say? And it just gives you a better dimension of his conversations and thoughts with Jerry Jones. Goes back a little farther with the old days, but then also talks a little bit about now. So what did he say, baby, about Jerry and Jimmy Johnson together again?
The two of us were working around the clock together. People don't realize the relationship, we had. Back then, Jerry and I talked every day. Every single day, I'd be in his office, and we never really had a disagreement. And that's surprising to a lot of people, but we were always on the same page.
Except for that last day, I think.
And probably some of the tension happened there at the end of my career as far as with the Cowboys. We were so busy going in different directions that we didn't talk as much. My feelings for Jerry have never changed. I love the guy. He's a big part, maybe the biggest part of my entire career.
That's kind of true. And again, guys, the latest chapter of Jerry and Jimmy, at least they've mended fences. There's handshakes, there's hugs, there's back in the Ring of Honor. So again, this drought, this curse everyone thinks we have is, with Jimmy not being in the Ring of Honor. I don't know about that. I don't believe in the curse, but look, he's at least somewhat back in Jerry's head. That's got to be a good thing, right?
Now, Mike Aldana said one phone call, one conversation. Shrug.
I know, but the fact that he's back into the mix, again, he was making a joke about in the fold, but he might get a couple calls from Jerry this offseason. You never know. Just getting a little direction. Who knows? I wonder what Jimmy Johnson would have felt with the analytics team we have going on here. Because John Park, all right, he put an application out there for anyone to join up to. He said, quote, it's for a strategic football fellow job with the Dallas Cowboys for the analytics crew. He said, quote, looking again for strength with clear eyes and full hearts at the Dallas Cowboys. Would you be a good fit or know someone who is? Please help us amplify our search by sharing this message. And again, this application window, he said, is open, only going to be open through the first week of March. This is for the data inclined, which is an opportunity to join the Cowboys Strategic Football Operations Department as a fellow. Then, again, this is basically the Cowboys are hiring a summer intern. And it's a role that could be extended with the team through a full, throughout the full season. Yeah, so I imagine a lot of big data bowl contestants or NFL data enthusiasts with experience, would be strongly considered. So that's all. Just want to throw it out there that the analytics department still moving and grooving, trying to add to their, to their core of team here. Which again, I would wonder how Jimmy would utilize that analytics. I'm sure he would, by the way, in case you're wondering. So,
some of the biggest nerds I've met in my life were hardcore sports fans. So, you know what? There's someone out there, cracking out some kind of code on Python or doing some shit. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
So, good night, Anton Scott. Take it easy.
Love.
So, Tyrone Church, exactly. It's not 60 million against the cap. It probably will only count around 28 to 30
Correct.
million when all is said and done.
That's why I'm keep saying to everybody, guys, you're going from 60 to 30. You're saving 30 million right there in one move with extending DAK. Or even, redoing his deal. Not redoing it, but restructuring his deal.
Yeah. So, and I want to hit up one or two more comments here real quick. So, thank you, Matt Batten. Glad you're here tonight, too.
Yeah,
I have to admit, Little Dallas Cowboys, it's been a while since you had such a crappy take, but you know what? I will give you credit tonight.
We take them all.
Drums and Cowboys said, I accept the DAK contract only because I'm not ignorant to the fact that his contract has us over a barrel. I love the Cowboys, but DAK's good, but not a killer, and the playoffs require another level. I am going to say the thing that I've been saying since I saw that Super Bowl game. I don't necessarily disagree, but what is the thing that got both teams there? Because as much as it might have been solid quarterback play, I can tell you right now it was the defense on both sides.
Agreed.
They had some of the top defenses in this league. And when I look at our game, I'm disappointed in our offense, but man, am I furious at our defense. It feels like that is where the biggest crack came, especially when you look at the regular season as our offense got better and our defense got worse.
Yeah.
So I am not trying to sweep the offensive problems under the rug or pretend they don't exist.
Yeah.
But if you're talking slices of the blame pie, you know where I stand.
Well, they did something with that. They got Zimmer.
Now, Tyron Church feels like Dan Quinn kind of quit on us. So, he also had kind of a vested interest to try to look good there towards the end of the season. We saw how quickly his star faded and how many teams went from considering him a top contender for their jobs to we'll interview, I guess. Back to you. Sorry, baby.
No, so let me just go one last thing here. Before we're finishing up here, guys. It'll be kind of an earlier night, I guess. But for a 2-day stream, that's interesting. But either way, guys, I do want to mention the fact that the NFL draft, of course, still a couple months away. But I wanted to mention a couple options. If you look at maybe the top 5 realistic prospects that you may see come up for the Cowboys at pick number 24. Who would you mention? Who do you think? Because you got some names. I would say, Byron Murphy II from Texas. An interior defensive lineman. Do you think we go with another Mozzie Smith style guy? That's going to be tough, but he is a highly rated guy, man. Not the highest rated. We talked about edge rusher Darius Robinson from Mizzou. He'll be there probably at the 24th pick. You go to offense. You got Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, who's a receiver there. So that's an option there, receiver. I do not agree with that. But then we look at the offensive line, where usually we are in agreement, so most of us, about who do you want to grab. And when you look at this, my 2 favorites right now, definitely, but without question, is JPJ, who might not be there anymore, from Oregon. But he's a center, can play guard. Jackson Powers Johnson, he's my guy. He'd be my pick. But then a close second is offensive tackle, and he can play on that offensive line. Jordan Morgan from Arizona. But I want to make sure you understand something, baby. Let's talk about it real quick. Offensive lineman from PFF. 87% of college offensive guards stay at offensive guard.
Okay.
87. 70% of movers went left to right. So 70% went from...
So most players, they're not moving right to left. They're moving left to right.
Yes.
Okay.
78% of professionals, of pro centers, 78 played college. And at least had some
played
time.
Center in college?
Yeah, at least had some time at center at college.
Makes sense, obviously.
35% of offensive tackles kick back inside. Interesting. There are a high range of tackles go into guard or center, which I think Jordan Morgan would fall into that.
I was going to say that feels almost like it was specially crafted for us, because that's something we've been doing since before any of this happened.
And 45% of drafted offensive linemen in total, 45%, almost half of them, played left tackle in college.
Okay.
Everyone plays left tackle, it seems like. At least half the league.
That kind of scares me a little bit. That sounds like everyone is getting hurt and they're just we need a body, throw you in there.
Or they're failing out there, and then they move them inside.
Oh.
So, again, and when you look at the other side of things, maybe with the defensive tackle, I talk about Byron Johnson, but I still look in the second round, someone named Tavondre Sweat from Texas, right next to this guy.
So funny because, again, pretty much the 2 names you mentioned were the first 2 names that were mentioned in the chat. Because Drums and Cowboys literally said defensive tackle Tavondre Sweat. I'm calling it right now. And of course, Tyrone Church and I were in agreement. with our three named friend there.
Yes, JPJ.
I'll remember his name in a few weeks, I promise.
JPJ. What would JPJ with the first pick, and the second pick would get T'Vondre Sweat.
Okay.
That would be my dream. You get trenched out right there. Because here's the thing, guys, and I've been saying this guy's name, T'Vondre Sweat, for a long time. Haven't I? I mean, I have a short out there. I love this guy is one of my. Here's the thing. I've scanned, and they basically say as an agreement, if your NFL team, if your defense needs an immovable anchor in college, you got to get Texas T'Vondre Sweat. Again, guys, 6'4", 360 pounds. Nobody in this year's draft has Sweat's tools and upside when playing that nose tackle one tech position. If he slips to day 2, which he may, again, we'll see how things go. He might move up at day 1. Remember who the league is paying, even interior on the defensive line in free agency right now. We talked about the Colts guy there coming over here, but that's $10 million, right? So you roll the dice with T'Vondre Sweat in the second round. If he's there, I think that's a steal. Again, if you look at the Senior Bowl, you see him cracking over a freaking center. That's in our shorts right there. But he shouldn't get out. If you look at just the Senior Bowl, he should not get out the first round. He's that good, I think. He has rare size with that 362-pound body, 6'4", and he has overwhelming power that you just don't see every single day from college. He's considered, again, when you look at the way he is, like what he did to I think he was doing this to Arkansas's Bo Limmer, all right? And Limmer solidified himself as a top 100 pick on offense, on the offensive line from Arkansas. But that's the guy he broke in half, basically. I mean, he's going against top 100 guys, top prospects on the offensive line, and dismantling them. So everybody, and mostly on one-on-ones, everybody knows one-on-one drills are usually the ones that you really. I'm going to post some more T'Vondre Sweat.
Show your medal,
yeah,
so
he was double teamed multiple. They had double team drills, and my goodness, he did not move. He was not moved backwards, left, or right. He took what he. You'll see the video. I'm posting that short tomorrow.
So let's be real. He's everything that we wanted in Mozzie.
Yeah,
I was about to say everything we wish Mozzie would be. But at the same time, we need to see this gentleman enter the NFL officially. But that look, if you're looking for a guy who can be a big body there in the middle, who won't be stopped, right? Like, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Whew.
And, the other thing is this, he's a run stuffer. But he's more than just a first and second down guy like Mozzie initially was presented to be, because he was supposed to be a pass rusher maybe later in his career.
Exactly.
Let's see him first stop the run. T'Vondre Sweat, already, he's a first down and second down run stopper, but he's also showing, especially on one-on-ones, not even the two-on-ones, he's showing greatness against the run game. But one-on-ones, he's beating everybody and getting pressure on the quarterback, even in the pass rush game. So
I have to apologize real quick, because we basically word for word said exactly what Mike Cardona said in the chat, and it made me laugh. He said, Sweat is what Mozzie was supposed to be last year.
We're all great.
I happen to look at the chat now and read
your mind, his
laugh.
mind, great minds think alike. Guys that are 6'4" and 365 pounds like T'Vondre Sweat are not this quick, nimble, fast, and off the ball and nifty with their moves. He just has it all. And again, interior, boring nose tackle position, but this guy could be, I don't want to say Aaron Donald. That's a big thing, but the guy is so big that, I mean, he's bigger than Aaron Donald. He'd be a different kind of interior defensive lineman than Aaron Donald, but he has that possible upside there, and they don't grow on trees, these kind of guys. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of once every so often guy that comes through there. So I'm a big fan on defense, adding someone like T'Vondre Sweat, if he's still there. In the second round right now, we'll see if that, I don't think we're going to take 2 first round back-to-back nose tackles. Mozzie Smith and then another nose tackle in the first round. I don't see that happening.
Especially
second round, yes.
Let's be real. The Cowboys already took a chance on Mozzie, and because it didn't pay off, they're going to double back on that decision.
Oh yeah, that's the way.
There's no way they do that again.
Yeah, they're going to move Mozzie in there no matter what. You got to feed him, like you said, baby. Feed him, get him fatten him up to 330 again, not 295.
So, yeah, and hey, at least the little Dallas Cowboy and I can agree on that. Feed Mozzie, right? Feed him. Yeah. Don't stop feeding him until he regains those 30 pounds he lost, and maybe an extra 5 for good measure. And have him hit the weight room, too, at the same time. Anyway, keep rolling it here. I think we're almost at the end.
Yeah.
So, since we are getting to the end here, let me one final time shout out McLovin, sponsor of the week.
Yeah.
Your Cash App King.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Zach Luna, rocking it with that soon-to-be no more Michael Gallup, 13.
Yeah, Gallup's going to be gone. But hey, 13 points, guys. I mean, someone can still possibly take over that top spot tonight. We never know, right? Still got a couple minutes left. But much love to Zach Luna, 13 points. And then, of course, still got a tie between the Lunatic and JD from DC. And also, skeptical in the running, and anybody in the running if they drop 6 on it when it comes to the gifting membership side. So much good luck there. And, right now, McLovin is still in the lead, but extra special love to Jason Renfro dropping a couple tonight. Always repping that star for everything. Now, yes. I will finish it up here, guys, and get your last comments, your last drops in here. But Micah Parsons. Yeah, Micah. Being on the microphone a lot, and you already heard me talk about guys calling him out on ESPN Get Up. Well, it didn't stop there. What's his name? Greeny. What's his name? God, I forgot, from ESPN. He was talking about Micah Parsons' comments on the Stephen A. Smith podcast show, and he said, quote, "What is going on? He's not Shannon Sharp. He's not retired and in the Hall of Fame. Why is he sitting back there yelling back and forth with Stephen A.?" And I think Greenberg is his name. The point is
trying to say active players can't talk to
they shouldn't be active players shouldn't be doing like podcasts and being part of like the media and that kind of stuff. In that sense, like we are, getting basically they said it was basically First Take redone again.
Gotcha. Look, you can't put the cat back in the bag.
Yeah. So, look, the point is, Micah responded with, quote, "I mean, I hate this idea or thought. What makes you listen to an adult teacher or a professional of that point? Experience and wisdom. So if a professional of any career, one that has more experience than me, I will listen because they are offering knowledge. A job title does nothing. A profession does not qualify you to talk about anything more than another person, period." So, basically, he's just saying all these guys, professionals on ESPN, are just talking shit because that's what they're getting paid to do.
And just because their job title says that they're somehow, professional football shit talkers, doesn't necessarily mean that they are correct in their professional football shit talking.
Pioneer said ESPN nerd analysis. Exactly. It's really bad. So
and obviously the kind of hit there, which on at least this we'll agree to disagree, Micah, but he's obviously trying to say too, like, don't talk shit if you've never played ball.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I took a little bit of that from that.
Right.
Like I said, I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't necessarily fully agree. I don't think you have to actually play football to be able to appreciate or understand it. But I do agree that a large majority of people who've never played football certainly seem to know how to talk out of their ass about it.
As Asmodeus said, Dan Orlovsky is an example. He talks out his ass and he played football. He'll step out of bounds.
I was just
running
about
away
to say,
from
there's plenty of people who have played football who have some seriously stupid takes. So, playing experience doesn't always correlate to good football takes. Yeah. And I'll leave it at that.
Finishing with Micah, though, I do have a couple more things when it comes to Micah and Mike Zimmer. But listen, the top-selling jersey, baby, this year in the NFL is Micah Parsons.
Oh,
yeah,
good for
believe
him.
it or not. So again, Penn State was celebrating that today. But Micah Parsons, again, I mean, you've seen this. If you haven't seen it in my shorts, there, then you'll see it there. But he was also with the Stephen A. Smith stuff. He said, "quote, I'm excited when it comes to seeing what Mike Zimmer is going to bring to the table." And, Micah Parsons was on Stephen A. Smith talking about Zimmer. Well, he was asked about Mike Zimmer from Stephen A. Smith. Mm-hmm. And Micah Parsons, just said, "I'm excited." And he basically, Mike is like, I'm excited to see what he brings, what's new. And, wishing the best to Dan Quinn, he said, except for the 2 games against us.
Yeah,
and he says that he wants a fresh start to help change the culture in Dallas. And I'm with him there for Micah Parsons. So, he wants to be part of that change. We should see a big increase in that this year from him, in my opinion. Now,
maybe that can be the motto this year, right? We have all these little cute things, perseverance or whatever with Garrett. We have the Carpe Omnia. How about change the culture? Okay, I almost threw the F word in there. Change the culture.
Yeah. Well, that's Jerry Jones is the culture.
The F word is silent. The F word is silent but implied.
Change the F in culture. So, yeah, well, it should be. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Last tidbit before we sign off for the night. NFL's defensive strategies in the NFL, and I'm putting Zimmer here because he's our newest defensive coordinator. He's going to be running the strategies. NFL defensive strategies right now, they're evolving with a big increase in the adoption of too high safeties. So pre-snap zone coverages. When it's a 3rd down and 8, 3rd and 12, when it's a passing play, a lot more too high safeties pre-snap with that zone coverage look. You're seeing a lot more of that right now. In 2020, it was used 33.2% of the time. In 2021, 38.8% of the time. In 2022, 43.1% of the time. Last year, 44.9% of the time. So you're looking at almost creeping up to half of the time pre-snap zone coverage of too high safeties are being shown. So what is Mike Zimmer's plan on this? Because when you look at his data, guys, and you compare it to last year's Cowboys and his last 3 years with the Vikings, all right, he's about the same when it comes to, cover zero, okay? He used it about 3.1% of the time in his 3-year average, last 3 years with the Vikings. Dan Quinn used it 3.5% of the time. That's more situational. But then when you get to the other stuff here, cover one, which Dan Quinn used a lot. He used it, 17.8% of the time. I'm sorry, Mike Zimmer used it 17.8% of the time. Dan Quinn used it 31.5% of the time. A big decrease you're going to see in one safety, covering deep, and then everybody else kind of coming up. So you see a cover 3, and you're seeing Dan Quinn use that 38.8% of the time, cover 3 defense, while Zimmer uses it an average of 26.4% of the time. So again, a big 12% decrease in cover 3. Basically 3 guys back there. Then you're going to go to the things where you're going to see now more Zimmer usage than Dan Quinn usage. You realize I haven't said cover 2 yet, right?
You have not.
Because cover 2, which is what is the big trend going on, is when it comes to defensive coverage situations pre-snap, Mike Zimmer uses it on average 18.2%. Dan Quinn last year used it 9.7%. So you're going to see double usage.
A lot more cover 2 then.
From cover 2, which is what is the league is going to now in defensive pass situations. And quarters. Remember I talked about quarters and something where you're going to see quarters defense a lot more this year from Mike Zimmer. And you will. Because in 3 years, in the average with the Vikings, 15.5%. Dan Quinn only doing it 10.7%. So you're going to see more quarters defensive coverage. And cover 6. You saw him use it 10% of the time. In Minnesota in the last 3 years, Dan Quinn used it 0.5%. So a big increase there in cover 6 by Mike Zimmer. We're going to see how this thing changes up, but definitely a lot of cover 2. One of the bigger, I think that's, outside, I guess it's up there with the cover 6, with almost 10% from cover 6. Mm-hmm. You're going to see, again, about a 9% jump in cover 2. And about a 5% jump in quarters coverage. While you're going to see a cover 3 decrease by 12%, and you're going to see cover 1 decrease by about 13%, 14%. So, with Zimmer, there's going to be some slight changes here in this defense, and you're going to notice them pretty quickly, pretty fast, and hopefully it's going to be going towards the personnel we have, and we're going to have a much more, hopefully, consistent, effective defense, which then if we put that together with what we did the last couple of years, not just consistent and effective, but that could be elite as well. Any last thoughts on this, baby, when it comes to the coverage plans going forward? And any last comments in the chat?
I wonder how this might affect our free agent situation, just because we've talked a lot about, hey, we'd like to see Gilmore back. We think that for the right price, he could be back. It's like Pioneer said in the chat. If Zimmer has more of a cornerback-based scheme, and we're going to be running a lot more cover 2, well, that makes guys like Trayvon and co a lot more important. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. So that was kind of the first thing that immediately popped in my mind.
Interesting. Okay. Any last couple comments before we call it a night?
Let me hit up the chat here. Mike Aldana said a few new wrinkles. Yeah, we're getting old, right? We got to wrinkle it up a bit. Matt Batten said, stop the run because we need it.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it yesterday or on Monday, how we can do that with a lot of big names out there at the interior.
Yeah, and thanks for being here. Jumps and Cowboys, Lost in Translation. Brandon J, of course, as well.
House. Yes, sir.
So, and McCarthy's the literal elephant in the room. I agree, Pioneer. So, Mike Aldana saying Mike Golick refers to him as Greenie.
Greenie, yeah.
Tyrone Church in the house. Thanks for being here. Asmodeus in the house. Yeah, we can all take a moment to laugh
Church,
at Dan Orlovsky.
Asmodeus, everybody.
Let's see. SKP Daddy Dak Prods. So
interesting name there.
There you go. Even you, little Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to you. Thanks for being here. And we kind of keep rolling it back. Make sure I give the shout outs. Antoine Scott, take it easy. Have a great night. Aztec Aguilar 04. Snug X. Chris Davis, of course. Who else? Jarrett Jones. Even you, Leaside, even you. Straight Arrow. Antoine Scott. Traveling Fools.
Hey.
Bad Intentions. Burn Bar. Yeah, it's as far back as I can go. Let me come back down. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Lost in Translation podcast, of course. Thanks for rolling through here.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, Drums and Cowboys. We'll see what the Cowboys do as far as linebacker. I feel like there's definitely a few different ways to address it. I don't want it to be in the draft. So.
Yeah, me neither. We'll see. There's a lot of good free agents that you can get for decent prices out there. Anyways, we talked about that also on the other night, so check it out if you haven't already.
Thank you again to everybody here chilling, hanging with us.
I also wanted to make sure I shout out Jason Renfro for his couple drops tonight. Man, much love to him. He was a slow night on that side of things, but sponsor of the week is still the same as it was yesterday, and this entire week it's the man McLovin, also the Cash App King for 2 weeks in a row, back to back, like our 90s Cowboys. McLovin, and McLovin is in the lead as maybe repeating it as the sponsor of the week, and he's got the lead in the Cash App if he's repeating that as our Cash App King right now. Jason Renfro, was going to be right there next to him, but he dropped. Of course, it was a mistake and dropped, so we corrected that. Much love to McLovin, who's in the lead on both those boards. Zach Luna still hanging on with 13 points in the Stream Boss, and a battle still to be decided between JD from DC and the Lunatic for the Gifting Championship. Of course, those are the leaders. Anyone, if you drop 6, you're in it. You got it. You won it, and you got 6 for the next week as well, for this week coming up as well. And that is that. Guys, I'm going to let the wife remind you guys why we do this each and every day here in My Cowboys Family. Maybe why is it?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw. Good, bad, or ugly. Here at MCF, we always rep that star over everything. And here on My Cowboys Family for over 6.5 years and beyond. Thank you all for rocking with us here. Can't do this without you all. And of course, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, Go Cowboys! As you can see my shirt, let's get that 6 and beyond. You know it. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long and beyond. Cannot do this without the discussions back and forth. 2 nights into one here, an hour and a half's worth of MCF. Tomorrow we should be back. I think we may miss a Friday or a Saturday, so keep that in mind. But we'll be back the rest of the time. So we'll catch you back here again, guys. Maybe a shorter streams. I don't know. It seems like kind of shorter streams here in the off season. But either way, we're going to keep you up to date on everything, discuss it, and more always here on My Cowboys Family. So, baby, as we shout out everybody and thank everybody in the chat dropping the knowledge. Of course, truly humbled by Jason Renfro dropping the love tonight from above, and everybody on the After Dark side of things also dropping the love. Baby, as we clock out, drop out for the night, relock and reload for another show tomorrow. Before we can officially get out of here for the night, tell everybody what we got to do before we drop out for the evening.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. That beat's been dropped, guys. Thank you once again for joining us here for another one. For another wrap up here of the day in news and Cowboy news and info and updates here with us on MCF and another Cowboy chat. Yes, and it was about DAK dollars today. Talked about the 60 million. Talked about, Jimmy keeping an eye on things, kind of. Talked about Jerry and his attendance and his money and the new coach hired here to the left with his family. Of course, MICAH and his talk on the podcasts and all that and more here again. Power packed today. Combo of My Cowboys Family right here at MCF. It's about that navy blue, that silver too, and always that star over everything. Never ever forget the number one thing here on MCF right here at My Cowboys Family. As always, much love to everyone in the house. Cannot do this without your guys' love and support. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that for the stream. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe for the channel and keep this growing. Almost at 34,000 family members, subscribers. Hit that notification bell. Put it on to all videos so you know we're going live. And follow us on all social media, X, Twitter, and beyond. At My Cowboys Family. There's the Discord. Everything else is in the description. Thank you all for joining us for another one. Have a good night. Stay safe. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And never, ever forget, go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.